Matty Loves Podcast. Matty Loves Podcast.
Hello once again, and you are listening to episode 12 of Matty Loves Podcast. I'm your host, Matt D. Simone, joined with me as always, Dr. Tom Lucas. How you doing, bud?
I am great, man. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. I'm not one of those people that's like, hey, check it out, but on this day, technically, 34 years ago, around 5 or 6 p.m., I entered the planet Earth. I'm not an alien, but anyway, yes. So today is my birthday, and I thought that what better way to spend my birthday than to not only hang out with Dr. Tom, but also record episode 12 of our fine podcast, if I do say.
Episode 12? Yeah, what?
Yeah, I know. This is you get to episode 12, or you get to issue 12 in most comic books. You're wrapping up the first year of a series, and usually episode 12 brings you, something unexpected or surprising to hook you in to the rest of the series. And hopefully, episode 12 of Matty Loves Podcast does the same for some of you listeners. This is going to be a fun podcast. I've dubbed this podcast FASD, as in FASD, standing for Fun as Shit Discussion.
Yes.
That is what we're intending on having here over the next hour or less. But first off, Tom, anything new going on since the last time we sat down and spoke to one another?
Things have been holding steady, man. This weekend I'm at the Speculative Fiction Southeast Con. I'm sitting on a couple panels, and I'm running the open mic there, and I'm going to be signing books and hopefully selling a bunch of copies of Pax Titanus and maybe Leather to the Corinthians. And I'm also getting ready for, I'm doing NecromonaCon 2015, which is in Tampa the second weekend of October. So I got a couple of big shows coming up, and I've really just been spending my time putting those pieces together.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear more about your busy-ass weekend.
Yeah.
Because from what you've told me, you definitely got a lot of shit going on down there. But hey, man, you're going to be, it sounds to me like you're going to be hosting a whole lot. So that'll be a good way for you to get yourself out there, and hopefully people are going to buy some packs and buy some leather and, help you out a little bit there.
Yeah, I'm just finding some new people, some new readers, a new scene, that's what you have to do when you have creative work out there, and you're not one of the heavy hitters already. That's how the heavy hitters get to where they're going, is the hustle, man. Just got to go out there and hustle.
That's it. I'm trying to have some of your hustling rub off on me as I continue to build my brand and whatnot. We'll just see how it goes. It's exciting times for me. It's exciting times for Tom. And we're just having a good time here every single week, sitting in here and talking to each other while you people listen.
No doubt.
Which I guess we can just jump right into our usual discussion. Sometimes here on the podcast, Tom and I like to talk about what we are finding on Netflix randomly from time to time. And this segment is one we like to call that random shit that's on Netflix.
Just got home. I need to get my fix. Let's find out what type of shit that they got on Netflix. Oh, come on, baby. The shit that's on Netflix for me and you, babe.
So, Tom.
Yeah.
usually when we come out of the jingle or whatnot, I'll throw things to you. But I'm going to go ahead and take the reins here on this
go for it.
Netflix discussion. Because recently there have been some jewels showing up on Netflix, and I think it's mainly having to do with Halloween seasons coming around. You know, and there are definitely some of your Halloween themed movies that are showing up, like your Monster Squad,
Right.
which I thought about talking about here, but I might save Monster Squad and talking about it when we break down how you should spend your Halloween season this year, which is going to be coming here real soon. What is this, episode 12? I think it might be 13.
Oh, yeah.
So the
I
dreaded
like that.
13. Emails are going to be having to be sent this week. I'll set that up. But
Right.
anyway, so Netflix has posted some jewels. And one in particular is in my top 5 favorite films, period, of all time, hands down. You need to put this shit on Blu-ray. What are you thinking? But anyway, I am talking about none other than 1987's Masters of the Universe.
Woohoo!
Yes, as I like to do when we sit here and record, I like to just like throw on a movie or a show or something on mute. Maybe to develop a little inspirato like we ever really need it when we sit here and just talk to each other for an hour. But I've got Masters of the Universe playing awesome right now on the screen. You know, and it's just... I've been looking for you. See, I know this whole time.
The art direction, the costumes, it's really...
I mean, look, and as a He-Man purist... you know, any guy that was like my age that was into like cartoons and stuff and was a geek and they went and saw this film, they probably thought that it was pure trash.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it totally is pure trash. However, when I was a little boy, when I first saw Masters of the Universe, I saw it in the theater. And my father did this to me twice. Didn't tell me what we were doing.
Okay.
He was like, come on, son, we got to go somewhere, you know, and I'd get in the car with him and I'd be like, where are we going? The first time he did this to me was for Masters of the Universe. He took me to see He-Man, and he loved it.
Yeah.
But he saw me, and then he did that also again when the He-Man live show
Oh, no, really?
came through town. He took me to see that as well. So those were 2 surprises, both He-Man related. He-Man meant so much to me as a little kid. It was my favorite cartoon. I don't know. It just, you know, was drawn to He-Man and those colorful characters and everything. Going back now, you watch Masters of the Universe, the cartoon, and it's homoeroticism at its finest.
You're right.
But you know, and of course they didn't mean it to be like that and what have you, but at the same time, it's rather humorous. But I loved He-Man, man. I just thought it was this guy with a sword, and the sword turns him into this superhero, you know.
Well, yeah, what's not to love?
Right, and all this stuff. And that aspect of it all was one of my favorite things about He-Man that you do not get in the motion picture Masters of the Universe at all. Teela's smoking hot.
Sure.
But aside from that, you know, He-Man's costume, rather ridiculous. Why does He-Man need a cape? I don't know.
Yeah, why did they give him a cape?
But I have no clue. I honestly have no clue. But the film in itself, you know, I see the film and I think back to just being a kid initially. I'm not going to sit here and break down the story because it's simple. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, think about all the Star Wars prop throwaways that they found and used for this film, because if you watch it...
There's a lot of them.
I mean, it looks that way at least. This is the Star Wars influence in 1987's Masters of the Universe is, I mean, it's paramount. I mean, it's...
I can tell you that I will be queuing this up within the next few days.
Brother, it is...
Now that I know that it's...
Yeah, it's fantastic.
effect.
I mean, did you ever see it when it came out?
Sure.
Okay,
sure, yeah.
So you went and saw it too. I mean, I do believe that this was a film that was released right at the tail of summer. This is one of those August releases, I do believe.
Right before you go back to school.
Right, exactly, but not yet good enough to kick off the summer. You know?
Yeah.
So they had to find that right weekend to sell it, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, Masters of the Universe is on Netflix, folks. I know every word to this damn movie. And it is definitely a must watch for any of you all soaked up in the geekdom, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That between that Monster Squad.
I mean, that's a fun evening right there. But yeah, so oh my gosh, just I mean, who at the studio was like, you want to send He-Man to Earth? Perfect.
Right?
You know, why this wasn't all inclusive to...
Maybe it was the budget, you know? Because shooting in the real world is cheaper than... I don't know.
Right, yeah, I don't know either. Oh no, here they come. Well, fortunately, Gwildor, who didn't exist in the cartoon, there's several characters in this movie that weren't in the cartoon. Why they didn't want to go for Ram Man, you know, or go for other characters, I'm not sure. Trapjaw would have been a really dope character to have in the movie, but no, they have these weird ass characters, these new characters, especially Gwildor, who's created this teleporter, more or less, that in a fight at Grayskull sends our heroes, He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, to present-day 1987 Earth, which is just ridiculous.
Right.
Karg, that's her name. Looks like a dude, but it's not. It's
I'll revisit this, and we will have a follow-up.
Yeah,
and his
please.
cape doesn't even go up to his shoulder.
No, it's like
it's
yeah.
like an arm cape.
It's like dragging on the ground, like below him.
Yeah, it's the worst idea.
And the
ever.
sorceress, who's like the most powerful being in all of existence, is trapped in a force field. Thank you, Skeletor, who, if you don't know, has the power of the Force in this movie, or at least the Sith side of things, with his electro blasts and whatnot he does throughout the movie. It's rather ridiculous, but like I said, folks, you know, you definitely got to check out Masters of the Universe. I mean, that sword that He-Man has in this movie, I mean, that thing weighed like 25 pounds.
Right.
Only Dolph Lundgren could wield that monstrosity, for sure. But what about you? What's up with Netflix?
Well, you're gonna make me now. I'm gonna look like I'm a pretentious art. So the two things that have stood out to me that I've really enjoyed on Netflix are a little bit more highfalutin. First of all, there's a British documentary series called The Story of Film and Odyssey, which came out in 2011. There's 15 episodes, and they go through all of the history of film, all the major periods, all the influences.
It's like a PBS doc or
that kind of a feel, but it wasn't BBC, but it was a British network that produced them.
Okay. Is each episode an era, or is each episode kind of a theme in film genre?
Both.
Okay.
There's both. Some are eras, some are themes.
You ever seen The History of Baseball by Ken Burns?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's kind of like that.
A little bit. And you know, some people don't necessarily agree with everything that the narrator has to say. Some of the things that Mark Cousins, the narrator and director, writer, what have you, you know, the things that he finds important are not necessarily what other people find important. But still, if you want to teach yourself about film and about what's happened before and how it fits into what's happening now, it's basically like free film school. 15-hour
history
film school.
lesson.
Yeah, history lesson.
Right.
And it's phenomenal. The other thing is, are you hip to this Joseph Gordon-Levitt joint called hitRECord on TV?
No, I'm not, but I've read about it.
Okay,
What is this? This is like sketches or
It's short films.
Okay.
And other pieces of media art.
But he's
we'll
got
call them.
major talent.
Well,
Working with him here, right?
He started a website in 2005 with his brother, and basically they just say like, "Hey, we want to do a film about time. everybody submit a script, and what they would do is they would pick somebody's script or something, and then they would pick an animator and a this and a that.
They produce it.
And basically make it. And they created this studio, and it's like hyper interactive. And now they have like 80,000 contributions a month, people trying to do stuff for them. And so they put together, and they took a number of short films to Sundance, and it's this really neat art project, basically, where almost anybody can contribute. And they turned it into a show where he, at a theater in LA or wherever it is, he presents the different pieces, and it is really something that only the modern age of the internet could create.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. And I just kind of blown away by how all these people are getting together and trying to do something. So, yeah, so I went with the high arts.
All right, I went
more artsy than fartsy this time around. But anyway, story of film. If you want to learn your films and their histories, go with that. And if you just want to see what happens when a bunch of people get together and get creative, hitRECord on TV is pretty neat. And each episode is based around a theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And every bit of the show, minus Joseph Gordon-Levitt talking, has been created by someone who submitted it via internet.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, it's a product of its time.
You could be one of 80,000.
Yes. Yes. Right. So, pretty neat stuff.
Well, right on. One thing I just really want to add here, going back to Masters of the Universe that I neglected to mention. Any fans of the television series Friends will dig this, and it'll give you a reason to watch the movie. On Friends, Monica, who was played by Courtney Cox, her mother on the show, Ross and Monica's mother, is the sorceress in Masters of the Universe, where
really?
Courtney Cox is the teenage character. Yeah, so I just put that together, just looking out of the corner of my eye. I was like, oh yeah, that's her mom on Friends. I forgot all about that. Yeah, so hey, they had worked together previously, I guess, before Masters of the Universe. But to then go forward and talk about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that kind of segues into what we're going to be talking about here on this episode. One of my favorite comic books currently in publication and of all time, I'm dead serious, all time favorite comic book series is Robert Kirkman's Invincible.
Invincible is, if you are not reading this book, you are really keeping yourself away from something that is just an absolute pure joy. It for me, it captures the magic that can be comics, issue for issue,
Yep.
beat for beat. Kirkman knows how to tell a comic book story in a way that some of the heavies, I think, have forgotten. Mm-hmm. They've forgotten what the magic of a comic book is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think they're lost in the corporate commercial madness.
They're lost in the corporate commercial madness. They're lost in their own bullshit, They're lost in their own name, and what they've produced, and so many people in their lives saying you're never going to be able to do anything as good as that, and with that in mind, they kind of mail in a lot of their material, i.e. our last episode when we talked about Frank Miller's Dark Knight Strikes Back, the sequel to Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
But with Robert Kirkman, I'm talking about every single thing this guy does is solid gold, man. It's readable, it's understandable, and it's enjoyable. And those three things, as far as any comic book, screw that. Any story, novel, whatever, you got to have those three elements, and Kirkman, all his stories have those. Now, there's also a lot of your acquired taste material that he does, like The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. Forgive me,
Outcast.
Forgive me, nerds, but I don't read that shit. Zombies aren't my thing. doesn't mean I don't respect the hell out of what Kirkman's done with that property. You know,
Right.
I mean, I own the first, I would say, 2-3 years of the comic in hardcover. Tom once owned the original copies of The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, we went over
talked
that.
about that.
That
Yeah.
horrible tale.
I don't mean to bring that
No,
back
it's
on.
okay. I'm okay with it.
But anyway, yeah. So Robert Kirkman, as far as comic book creator, in this current age of comic books, if you don't have a Robert Kirkman book in rotation or read or to be read, well, what's wrong with you? And this brings us to something that kind of like butt hurt me a little bit back when the properties were being all ironed out, and Kirkman was like, "Yes, we're going to do a Walking Dead TV show," because I don't know what they were looking at during that period of time, but for me, that didn't make any sense at all. I was like, who the hell is going to watch a zombie TV show on network programming? It's not going to last.
Right.
Oh my God, was I an idiot? I thought that Invincible should have been the property that they sold for television. And now, looking back on it, gosh, I'm so glad that Invincible has not ever made it to,
yes.
you know.
First of all, Walking Dead, although it is a phenomenon or whatever, and I've watched it since day one, I have to say it's really not that good of a show. It's just really not. It cycles through the same storylines. It gets bogged down a lot. The characters do stupid stuff, and they kind of just go through the same conflicts over and over and over. Frank Darabont was the showrunner in the first year, as well established, and then he left.
And sued the shit out of them.
Yes. And Frank Darabont knows how to tell a story. If he had stayed on, I think it would have been a much different show. I still watch, but honestly, it's just really not that good. When I look at Invincible, and especially, you know, I just love the art and the presentation of this book, and I always have. Part of me wants it to be strictly animated.
Right, and they did do the motion comic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can purchase that anymore on iTunes, but I have it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way that I can like get that to you, but it's definitely worth checking out because they go panel for panel. And they give a little, you know, animation to every panel.
Motion comics can be very cool.
Sure, absolutely.
I would love to see it as an animated feature.
Yeah.
I just think it would be awesome.
I think it would be awesome too, but I think as an animated feature, it would need to be on a network to where these aren't little kids that are going to be watching this.
No,
because this is not a kid's book.
Invincible is not a kid's book.
No,
it gets gory
extremely.
You know,
but
the
it's
violence.
It's beautiful.
You know, the thing is that like with a lot of comic book violence, we never really see the price that true violence actually charges in the real world.
Sure.
And Invincible definitely addresses the price of violence.
Yeah, if a city gets banged up, there's going to be costs. You know,
people get eviscerated and heads punched off their bodies, and
in the most colorful pages you could possibly look.
It's some pretty gore.
Yeah, it's like it's beautiful violence that goes on in Invincible. But so like I said, I'm glad now that it didn't end up getting developed into a television show. But if it were live action,
yes,
I think that it would probably translate to a motion picture more so than a live action television series. And with that in mind, folks, to be the very first tagged fun as shit discussion here on Matty Loves Podcast, Tom and I are going to be sitting in the casting director's chair, and we're going to sit here and we are going to cast the Invincible movie.
Awesome.
Yes. So I guess the best way for us to do this, Tom, is for I guess first off, before we get into, should we break down what the plot?
I think breaking down the plot, and hats off to you, good sir, for putting together a plot that captures the spirit of the book, adjusts for the the live action format and sort of takes sort of the essence of what Invincible is and packages it into a 2-hour feature.
Absolutely.
Well done.
There's an Empire Strikes Back quality to the Invincible story, not in the sense of him not knowing Nolan is really his father.
Right.
But I think it's more of what Mark Grayson, Invincible, our main character, our protagonist, I think that it's when he finds out what his dad really is. That kind of, I get that kind of Empire Strikes Back feel to it almost. So right now, without going into it, go on like the Invincible Wikipedia page or some page that's going to tell you exactly what what happens in the first 12 issues. It's out there. But go ahead and pause this right now and take a look at that before I get into the plot, because I'm just going to get right into it. And a lot of you unfamiliar with Invincible are going to be like, what? So go ahead and do that now. And yeah. Okay. So
that was awesome.
Yeah, I know. I hope you guys, got your 15 minutes of reading in there. And anyway, I'm just going to continue along. So this is going to be the plot that I've imagined for the Invincible film. I was thinking of something more grounded without having to go too far into the Viltrum stuff. Planet Viltrum is where Nolan Grayson, Mark's father, is originally from. He is known as a Viltrumite. He is not a human. But that definitely has to be addressed. But you can't address Planet Viltrum without too much without throwing a bunch of holes into the story that really need to be filled, and you don't have enough time in 90 minutes to 2 hours to do that. Mm-hmm. There's a pair of villains in the original volume called the Mauler twins.
Yes.
One's a clone of the other, but you don't know which one's the clone.
And they don't really seem to know.
They don't know either, which is great. Yeah, but they're geniuses, they're inventors, and they're really big, burly dudes. And
there's a sense of humor about them.
Right, and that's why I think that those two would make the perfect main antagonists for Mark overall in the original film without doing the whole underlying stuff with his father.
Right, yeah, that's not for the first film.
Right, and in the original 12 issues, the very first arc actually centered around a teacher at school that was turning students into bombs.
Right.
Instead of doing that, I'm going to have the Mauler twins turning the students and teachers into bombs. So that way, this is going to give the teen team, which is your characters Robot, Adam Eve, Duplicate, and Rexplode, being the ones to battle the twins and keeping them from turning all these innocent students and teachers into bombs. Now, from there, there's another character whose name is Immortal, and he is exactly what his name is. He's immortal. He's pretty much an immortal, what would you say, Superman?
Yeah, you can kill him, but he can't die.
Right, he's going to keep coming back. But in the comic book, he's portrayed as like a nearly like middle-aged guy. Mm-hmm. I think for film, that's not really going to work well. And I would crank his age down to about roughly late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
And so adding that, you can put Immortal in with the teen team and have him be a member as well.
Sure.
This is just one of those small changes that you got to do when you're transitioning comics to film. Meanwhile, as the teen team is figuring out all this stuff with the Maulers, Mark, our main character, Invincible, he not only is discovering his new abilities, meeting up with the teen team for the first time, but he's also working with his father, who is Omni-Man, the world's greatest superhero, more or less Superman with a mustache, and he's helping his dad take down sea monsters and all this other stuff in the very beginning as he's learning to develop his powers. Same thing would happen in the movie. But in the film, which is different then the comic, something needs to happen to Nolan where he's going to lose his faith in humanity and decides to live out what he was originally sent on Earth to do by the Viltrumites, and that is take over.
Right.
Whereas in the comic book, he knew this all along. He came to Earth, he falls in love with who would become Mark's mom, Debbie, and he gets invested in the family shit, and then all of a sudden snaps.
Right.
You know, that's kind of one of those things in the original story that I'm kind of like, well, it doesn't really give him, he doesn't really have a reason to do this.
It's like a light switch.
Right. It's like, you know, there's like a chip in his brain and the Viltrumites like turn it on. So anyway, something's going to happen to where he loses his faith in humanity. There might be a mass genocide in some country or something like that to where he's just like, you know what, I can't live like this. I can't do anything.
You people
about this.
suck.
Right, exactly.
You know, you're not my equals.
Exactly. I can't make this world better. I fought with having to change the world so much to where now I'm gonna tip the scales.
Right.
I'm gonna make this world to be of the perfection of the Viltrumite Empire, more or less. So anyway, you have that. So Nolan loses faith in humanity, which makes him kind of start turning heel in his brain, becoming a bad guy, and Immortal will be the sacrifice needed, I think, to have Nolan in the viewer's eyes to be that, oh, what a son of a bitch, you know. Mm-hmm. And just like in the comic when Omni-Man wrecks Immortal early on, it's kind of the same way, only it would be even more meaningful. And when this happens, when Nolan kills Immortal, Duplicate, one of the teams, she's this girl who can multiply, Duplicate, clever. Yes. She witnesses Omni-Man kill Immortal, and before she can get away, Omni-Man kills Duplicate. But one thing that we won't know as the audience is the fact that Duplicate has multiples of her, and there's always a zero Duplicate. There's always the zero. What's the word I'm looking for?
Just the core.
The core, yeah.
Core Kate.
Exactly. You got Kate 1, Kate 2, Kate 3, but there's always Kate 0. And if Kate 0 isn't around, then there's no Duplicate. So anyway, I digress. So instead of Omni-Man killing the fake Justice League that they created for the original Invincible series, which was basically an homage / satire of the Justice League of America, Omni-Man's just going to kill some teenagers.
Okay.
You know, so that's pretty brutal.
Well, yeah, it's brutal, and it also sort of cleans up that whole part of the story, because that would be too difficult to manage for the payoff.
Right. Now, much like, you know, I have my pal in Dr. Tom, Mark has his pal in Alan the Alien, who is this intergalactic hero, super strong, super tough, just as strong as Invincible and Omni-Man, who works for the Coalition of Planets to more or less, you know, police the universe and make sure that everybody's safe and whatnot. And Alan is the one in he and Mark's first meeting that tells Alan, your dad's not who he says he is. And Mark's all like, what? No way, my dad's the best, you know? Like, what are you talking about? My dad's not from this, like, murderous society, you know, this race of aliens that are just trying...
Yeah, the denial is ridiculous.
Right, the denial hits. So when Mark flies back right after having that conversation, he sees the aftermath of what Omni-Man has done to Immortal and Duplicate, and he's just like, you know, what the hell, Dad? Meanwhile, his mom, Debbie, sees all this going on TV at the same time, you know, and she's like, what is going on? And then you have this character named Cecil Stedman in Invincible. Cecil Stedman is more or less your Nick Fury. He works in Washington, D.C. He's the one that kind of rounds up all the main heroes and kind of tells them what to do.
He sort of handles them.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and in some cases, it's not necessarily fair what he does to Mark in the series, but that's kind of further down the road. Any of you that are familiar with Invincible know exactly what I'm talking about. But Cecil's going to show up near the end of the film after Omni-Man flies off in shame, because obviously Mark's not going to kill Omni-Man and whatnot. And he's going to realize what he's done is completely wrong. And when he leaves, you know, Cecil's going to show up and take Mark to the Pentagon, you know, and say, you know, there's a lot more that I need you to do in the movie there. And then in the mid-credits scene, You're going to have, Telesaria, which is the main planet where the Coalition of Planets are located, and you will have the leader of the Coalition of Planets, the director, if you will. His name is Thetis. He and Alan are in a conversation, and Thetis is telling Alan, I've discovered this giant ship of Viltrumites on their way to Earth. You need to go tell Mark that his people are coming, and they're coming for Earth. And I figured that might be a good way to kind of set up another film and get people interested. And then the closing scene in the mid-credits is this giant Viltrumite ship just rolling through, like Star Destroyer style. And that's it. You don't show General Thrag. You don't show any of that stuff. You just know they're coming.
Yes. We got a complete story.
Right.
But we have a bridge to the next one.
Right, exactly. And that's what you do in comic book movies nowadays. So anyway, that's my overall plot. Again, I hope you people read what the actual comic book plot of the first few issues is, at least. But I guess now all that's left that I've gotten through the plot and everything is to go ahead and cast this son of a bitch. And we will start off with our main character, Mark Grayson.
Are we going to go back and forth?
We're going to take one character. You tell me who you got, I'll tell you who I got, and then we'll just go vice versa all the way down.
Okay.
So we'll start out with our main character, Mark Grayson. All right? Who do you have playing Mark Grayson?
Oh, you're going to make me lead off.
Yeah, I'm going to make you lead off.
Well, based on his general physique, and based on general looks, and based on his appeal, his legacy with the youth of today, I have chosen Daniel Radcliffe.
Really?
Yes.
To play Invincible?
Yes.
Daniel Radcliffe?
I saw Horns on Netflix, and I think that he has it.
Wow.
I think that he has it.
I'd have to check that out because it just size-wise, he just seems so, short.
He probably is. And I had a hard time with the physique thing.
Right.
He's probably a better Peter Parker than anything else, size-wise.
I can see that.
Yeah. There's something, though, about, especially in Horns, he plays a young guy who's tortured by a relationship. And sort of the world, he ends up getting these demonic horns that no one can see on his head. But basically, people admit to things to him that they would never admit to anyone. He just gets people, they'll just say their inner truth.
Yeah.
And there's something about the angsty sort of aspect of his character.
Right.
Because Mark Grayson goes through hell emotionally in these books that I thought maybe he'd do good. But I want to hear yours, man.
Well, you're not going to know mine, I don't think.
Okay.
But have you watched Lost?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right. So when I was developing this, we have a lot of teenage characters in the Invincible story. And I wanted to find out, who are some of the up-and-coming actors, not necessarily established actors that are under the age of 22. And I went with this kid by the name of Sterling Bowman. Google him.
Okay.
But he's currently on the Powers series, which is on PlayStation Network.
Yes.
But he also played young Ben on Lost.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Sure.
So he's kind of rising, and he's kind of in the circles right now. And just the look, he looks alien. And that, for me, when casting Mark or casting a Superman, they got to kind of have that otherworldly look to him in the eyes or some way, shape, or form. Another real specific thing that I love about Invincible, I was talking with Rob, our buddy Rob, who lives in New York, who about, he was like, what's the one thing when you think of Invincible, he asked me, that first comes to mind? Is it the logo on his chest? Is it, what is it? And I was like, the hair.
Yeah.
Invincible's hair, it's not like a weird hairstyle, but he has this flippy, spiky hair, that you could throw a few mocaps in while you're filming and just it always be kind of moving.
Right, yeah.
It's just kind of got that flame on the end of a candle, bouncing kind of hair, firestormy in a way.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so, I picture that, and I saw Sterling Bowman's profile or whatever, and I was like, dude,
yeah,
that's it. That's our guy. So that's where I would go with Invincible. Like I said, this is they're going to be some kind of no-name cats, but realistically, if I'm casting it, I want to afford these characters, these actors.
The budget for mine is probably too high because of the names that I have.
But I got names
on here.
I got names. Nolan Grayson, for example.
Who did you go with?
Gerard Butler.
I went with Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
They're the same dude.
I know, right?
They're the same guy. I thought about him too. I was like, the comedian, or do I go with 300?
Right. Gerard Butler, he's got to have the facial hair because he's got a weird mouth.
Yeah.
And
he can grow a stash, bro.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
He can grow a stash too, man.
He is Nolan just walking down the street. And the dude is built.
Yeah.
He's got the build for it. And, the comedian, he did a very good job with the comedian. Sure. And no complaints there.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna have to. That's funny you say that because that was my thing. It was either Gerard Butler or him. Just based, but they're kind of like the same. They have similarities. Going back to Mark though, 10 years ago, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, no question, would be Mark Grayson. If this was 2005,
right?
Oh, no question.
I did find a place for him though.
Okay, all right.
I did.
All right, well, we'll get to that then.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Nolan Grayson, we got through that. All right, who did you have for Debbie, Mark's mom?
Well, she's a little too old now, but I really like the idea of Julianne Moore kind of thing. Okay.
All right, well, I went older too.
Okay.
I went Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Okay. Now, Julianne Moore is pretty famous for being a redhead,
She'd have to go straight jet black.
She would, but she did do that in Big Lebowski, I believe. And she can do the matronly thing.
He's a good doctor.
But still be kind of a babe at the same time.
And thorough.
Oh, but okay, yeah, and thorough.
And thorough.
Debbie Grayson to me also though isn't like a fulcrum point in the casting.
No, she's third in the cast, but yeah, definitely Debbie's the Rock.
Yeah,
but she's not the Rock that's there the whole entire time.
Right.
Debbie's gonna be there when Mark needs Mom to be there.
Yeah.
And so having her third up on the casting list would only just because Catherine Zeta-Jones would be billed as playing Debbie Grayson in my list. Yeah.
So, Adam Eve.
Okay, I got another no name.
I'm very excited for my choice.
Okay, so she's kind of up and coming too. Her name is Skylar Samuels.
Okay.
She's on that. I think it's on MTV. It's called Scream Queens. Is that on MTV?
That's going to be a Fox show, and it starts like next month.
Okay, she's on that.
Okay.
She's also on the last season of American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
She's blonde. She's kind of got wavy hair.
Right.
Okay, and then she's also in The Duff. Which came out last year?
Believe it or not, I've seen that.
Oh my goodness, really?
It came through the house one day, and there it was, and we watched it.
Okay, so Skylar Samuels, no name, affordable.
I'll look her up.
Up and coming by the time the movie comes out. Say we're putting it out in 2017. She will be established by that point, and we pay a little less for her. So, okay, so who's your Adam Eve?
Adam Eve, I went with Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's little sister.
Okay.
Doe-eyed.
Super 8.
Yes.
From Super 8?
Right.
Yeah, dude. No, totally, man.
I think that she can be... Because Marx just gets all messed up over her repeatedly throughout the book.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship. And I wanted some kind of doe-eyed, cutie pie.
Right.
That would on screen, we could really see.
And the first time Mark sees her is like, just one look, and I felt so hot.
I'm like, what young lady could get a young man jammed up?
Oh,
and
yeah,
I thought,
definitely.
Elle Fanning.
That's the key with Adam Eve. Adam Eve should be able to jam up any dude.
Right.
No matter, I mean, just a jammer. She's just straight. She's the thing in the movie that would be like, oh, oh no, Mark. That's when you really start rooting for Mark when she comes around.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next character we have, we're gonna go team here. We're gonna run out the rest of the team. So we have Adam Eve. Next is gonna be Robot, the leader of the team. He's a robot.
He is.
Who do you have?
I went with Dane DeHaan, who was the star of Chronicle. He was the kid that was all bent out of shape.
Harry Osborn.
Right? And
Okay.
Harry Osborn.
Okay.
Because he has that look of someone who might be imbalanced.
Sure.
Kind of thing. He's
So-
got it in the eyes.
So if we're writing Robot, then what do you want to do with Robot in the film? Do you want to go ahead and pull the curtain back and show what Robot really is?
I kind of thought we would have to, because otherwise he's just CGI, right?
No, yeah.
Well, maybe we just do the voice talent in the first film.
That's what I was thinking.
And then we pull it back later. So Dane DeHaan is just doing voice work with the robot voice.
Right. We're talking about straight
Yes,
robot. Just like no emotion, just regular. I'm going to tell you exactly what's
By
going
your
on.
command.
Right, Jim Parsons.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Jim
Big Bang
Parsons.
Theory.
Sure.
I think that he would be a great robot voice.
Oh, yeah, totally. He is a fine robot, too. Because Robot and what Robot ends up doing
Oh, my God.
later down the line.
And like when I was first
Jim
reading...
Parsons is a great pick.
When I was first reading Invincible, and the look of Robot, just his face and how it's drawn, it looks like a skull, kind of. It doesn't look good guy.
It does not at all.
He kind of has this sinister coldness. There's nothing behind the eyes type deal.
Right, right.
But it's one of the great things about the damn comic book. Wait till you find out what Robot is.
The Robot
that's a movie in
storyline
itself.
it's a shocker, man.
It really is.
It's a shocker.
And you know it's coming. That's the beauty of it all. And it hits you when you least expect it. Okay, so our next character is the lovable Rexplode.
Yes.
Our favorite flawed protagonist in the story. Again, I went no name. There's this kid. His name's Ross Lynch. He's a part of that Disney crew, that Disney teen crew. He did the movie, it's a movie that they did. I think it's Disney. It's called Teen Beach.
I don't know. That's definitely not on my radar.
Which is like a Frankie Loves Johnny for now. It's, but the kids love it. It's like the High School Musical shit, It's like, I've never seen it, but I hear about it, or whatnot. So he's from Teen Beach. And I just needed somebody that's kind of not. You can't have Rexplode be, as far as actor goes, play higher than your main character.
Well, no.
And I think with the rest of the teen team, none of those characters necessarily can, overtake your no-name main cast, top of the bill.
Right.
So that's why I went with the kid Ross Lynch. For that character. Who do you have for Rexplode?
Well, okay, so, when I cast Daniel Radcliffe as Invincible, part of it was, how do we get Invincible being a property that people outside of comics don't know anything about. Everybody knows Superman, knows Batman, whatever. Nobody outside of comics knows who Invincible is.
I think I know where you're going with
this. It's essentially a start. I cast Rupert Grint.
Ron Weasley.
Yes.
As Rexplode.
Because
you're going to bring asses into the seat. They're back. They're back.
Yes.
They're back together again.
We're going to do the ensemble thing where they are not the characters from Harry Potter, but yet we get to see... Emma Roberts is nowhere to be found. Emma... Stone is nowhere to be found in my casting.
Okay.
Just bringing the boys back.
Right.
I'm not going to weigh it that heavily.
Right.
But there's just... He does flawed so well. And I think physically... we're in the right place.
Not Emma Stone, but you're talking about Hermione. the girl who played Hermione.
Yeah,
I thought about her for.
You got the three of them, you know.
Sure.
And
the
I'm not bringing the Trinity. I'm not bringing her back, but I kind of like the idea that it might help sell the movie.
It's selling
if
it to
we
me.
do this kind of weird little reunion.
Yes, that's selling
piece.
it to me.
Okay.
Definitely, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
In casting
The feels.
I
Try
like
to get
that.
the feels,
Yes.
you know, but
Yes.
attach them to something new.
Right.
All right, so that brings us to Duplicate.
Duplicate's a very interesting character. That's your CG character because she can multiply. So I was thinking to myself, well, what's one young actress that I'm kind of familiar with that I would love to see multiples on the screen? And I thought of Vanessa Hudgens.
Okay.
She was in Spring Breakers.
Uh-huh.
She was a part of that High School Musical crew. She
Right.
dated Zac Efron for a little bit.
Okay.
Dark hair, kind of
Okay.
an olive complexion. Beautiful.
Perfect for that, because Duplicate is pretty hot.
Yeah, and I think Duplicate in the comic is Asian, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. I might have her confused with somebody else, or maybe like looking at the character differently on the outside or whatever. But yeah, so I think Vanessa Hudgens would make a good Duplicate, and be just one of those names that might get a few asses in the seats.
I would think so. I went with Emma Roberts, and she's been on American Horror Story. Did you watch the season with the witches?
No, I've never watched American Horror Story. So.
She's a really attractive blonde girl, and she plays sexy.
Okay.
She can do the sexy, almost slutty sort of tones.
Uh-huh.
And
Duplicate is kind of promiscuous.
she is, yeah. And I think she's got the right vibe for it. So if you look her up and you see her with that Duplicate haircut
The
sort
bob
of thing,
or whatever, yeah.
which is Duplicate is Selma Blair 10 years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
10 years ago, but not Selma Blair.
Selma
She's
Blair.
aged out for this role.
Oh man, Selma Blair. Throwing one out there. I hadn't thought about her in forever.
Yeah, Hellboy, man.
Yeah, man, that
Did
was
a
like her
fine
last
job.
real big shit there.
Yeah,
And then it was
and
she
I
made
like her
money.
too because she's a Michigan girl.
Okay.
And also, I think that she always retained her sort of integrity with roles, and she didn't modify her looks or her actressing, or
Right.
she seems to have always like maintained a nice healthy weight, not got involved in the whole body image craziness or whatever. But this I gotta know, because you dialed down the age of the Immortal.
Yes.
And the Immortal is just about my favorite character in Invincible after Mark. It really is. We've talked about it before. I love the Kirby notes. He's kind of like a new god sort of thing.
Right.
Old school, somewhere between DC and Marvel. Kirby stopped and he created the Immortal along the way.
Right.
We've made him younger, which
Yes.
makes total sense for this story. Who you got?
I have gone with Dave Franco. James Franco's younger brother.
I don't know this guy.
Okay, Dave Franco. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of like the Apatow stuff he's been in, like as a bit role. He's done a bunch of that. Oh, you saw 21 Jump Street, right?
Oh, sure.
Okay, the part in 21 Jump Street where like there's the asshole at high school, the asshole kid, the main dude that's just a total dick. That's Dave Franco.
Okay.
And I would even throw James in this maybe too, but I don't think I could get him. But I just that's going down for the younger field. Franco's really done more comedic. He's doing all the Madden commercials right now for the Madden movie. He's the main guy on all those commercials, wearing the fake mustache and wig and everything.
Oh, hilarious!
Yeah, so he's more been portrayed comedic characters. But I don't see how he couldn't pull this off.
Sure.
So that's who I'm going. That's who I have for Immortal. Who do you have for Immortal? If we're not, did you dial it down?
Well, yeah. I followed your storyline. This is where Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes in.
Okay. All right.
If we give him that beard, I think the look is there.
Yes.
Now, he's a small guy.
Yeah.
And Immortal is built like
Right.
a superhero.
Right.
So I don't know about that.
We could Miracle Man him a little
But,
bit.
you know, I mean, would the Immortal need to be a big, bulky guy if you can't be killed?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean,
don't know.
You got a point there. I think that you know, now we're thinking about casting. I think that Joseph Gordon-Levitt would be a huge Mikey Moran.
Right.
I think he would be awesome.
There's that, or like maybe Josh Hartnett might make
a return.
You know, he's been doing really well on Penny Dreadful, but that's a cable syndicated series. That isn't the movie biz, but he has the build and he could do that. So
that's your teen team right there.
All right, that's team.
We've gone Invincible, we've gone Omni-Man, Debbie Grayson, Mark's mom, Nolan's wife, the teen team, Adam Eve, Robot, Rexplode, Duplicate, Immortal. Real quick now to wrap this up. Let's go with the rest of the cast here. Mark Grayson's best friend. His name is William Clockwell. He is your comic relief in the comic book.
Right.
A great character. And I looked at
super emo, emotional guy.
Yes.
As human as you can get.
Very culturally sound.
Yes.
You know, that's your case in point. Kirkman gets it, man. He gets it. So William Clockwell will be played by Asa Butterfield from Ender's Game.
Oh, okay.
Ender, whatever the kid's name is.
Right, Ender. I don't know how he's aging, what he looks like now. I went with Ansel Elgort.
From?
Ansel Elgort was in A Fault in Their Stars. He played the boyfriend who got cancer and died before the girl with cancer.
They die of cancer in that movie? I'm just kidding. Sorry.
And he's been doing a lot lately. He has kind of soft, dreamy looks for a young guy.
Okay.
And I think that he would be very fitting.
For some reason, I think we're going to have the same person playing the Mahler twins. Because the Mahler twins is going to be played by one actor.
Yes.
Okay? But he's going to be split into two roles. And if I'm shooting this movie, I am having him do both characters the whole time. We'll film this one scene acting like his twins around, then we're going to shoot the next scene and he's going to be walking around. It's just Parent Trap the shit out of him. Go straight old school, you know. Don't CGM too much, you know. But I chose Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, very nice. I did not have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I went with Terry Crews.
See, man. I mean, dude, it's you could do that too. You know, Terry Crews would look awesome, big and blue.
Oh my God!
And hilarious.
And he would eat it up.
Yeah, you're right.
The dude has the comedy stylings, man, and he can even do all the muscle twitching and all the stuff.
I think The Rock could do that too.
Oh,
pretty
sure.
well.
Yeah.
But no, Terry Crews for sure. Okay, so Alan the Alien. He is CG, 100%.
He's CG. He just need voice talent.
Who's voicing him?
I went with Patton Oswalt.
Okay. All right. I mean, that works.
Because it doesn't matter. And the thing is Alan is...
Ho-hum.
He's ho-hum, and he's kind of a nerd.
Absolutely.
Alan the Alien.
And a goody two-shoes,
And a goody two-shoes. And I just kind of felt like... Now, Patton Oswalt... I mean, because he's done Ratatouille, and he's done a lot of voice work.
Sure.
And he can disappear into the voice work. He doesn't have to be Patton Oswalt as Alan the Alien.
Right.
We can get him in there and do this sort of sheepish, goody two-shoes, nerdy sort of guy that he is. What did you go with?
Well, here's the thing with Alan. When we're putting everything together, we're not telling anybody who's voicing Alan, because Alan essentially in this story doesn't show up until near the end.
Okay.
And this is where I'm spending my big bucks.
Okay.
I'm putting all of my money in casting on Alan the Alien because this is the voice that I've heard in my head since I started reading the comic, because it just sounds so ho-hum. Brad Pitt.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just kind of matter of fact, you know. Alan, you know, is just kind of a matter of fact type of dude, you know.
He could totally do that.
And I've just always pictured Brad Pitt's voice, or heard Brad Pitt's voice when...
How interesting.
Yeah.
How interesting. Okay, we got two more characters, and then we're gonna bring this to a close.
And these are
right?
your last two. I mean, you got Cecil Stedman, who isn't going to show up with it, but until the last 10 minutes of the film. Who's your Cecil Stedman?
Terry O'Quinn.
From
John Locke. From Lost.
John Locke. Okay. Perfect.
Right.
I chose Ed Harris.
Oh, Ed Harris. Also.
Yeah.
Very agreeable.
Yeah.
Very agreeable. And then
Thetis.
Thetis
From Coalition of Planets. The guy, he's the bearded dude.
Who did you pick?
Mark Hamill.
I went with Patrick Stewart.
That would work too,
right,
man.
yeah.
Patrick Stewart probably even more just because of the age.
Well, I was looking at images last night while I was casting, and there's a few drawings of Thetis that it really looks like Patrick Stewart was the character, the model that the artist worked from.
Interesting.
Then they just drew the long beard off his cheekbones, and there's that sort of theatrical quality to the character that, I don't know.
Well, I mean, this was fun. For a long time now, since we started producing these, I've wanted to have an episode set aside just so we could cast the Invincible film we'll never see. So yeah, I think that this for me, it's a pleasant birthday present. Whenever.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very
sir.
much. Thank you so a lot. And I mean, with that, I'm gonna go celebrate my birthday in some way, shape, or form. Probably go gambling on a cruise ship or whatnot. But anyway, please give us some feedback. Let us know what you're thinking. Who would you cast in the Invincible film? Feel free to hit us up on Twitter @_Matt D. Simone, @ReadTomLucas. We got the Facebook page for Matty Loves Podcast. I swear to God, the Matty Loves website is going to be pumping here by the end of the year, if not way sooner.
It's going to be splendiferous.
It is. It's going to be amazing because Matty loves everything, essentially.
Yes.
So I mean, that's going to wrap things up. I hope everyone has a pleasant weekend. When we come back with you, I'm pretty sure we're going to be priming everybody for the Halloween season.
Oh, yeah.
As the month of October looms. So much fun. Big things planned for that. We will keep you all posted. But until then, feel free to go back. Check out past episodes if you haven't checked them out. We're on YouTube. Tom, thank you so much. Another fun discussion.
Oh my God, what a blast.
And folks, we will see you next time on Matty Loves Podcast.
Matty Loves Podcast. Matty Loves Podcast.